It's all right. It's all right. I feel that way too. We feel that way together, okay? Let it out.
Donald Trump taking credit for stopping a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Here we go.
And they have. And they did it for a lot of reasons, but trade is a big one. We're going to do a lot of trade with Pakistan. We're going to do a lot of trade with India. We're negotiating with India right now. We're going to.
So he's saying that he used the leverage of trade to get them to stop trying to kill each other in India and Pakistan.
He's soon negotiating with Pakistan. And we stopped the nuclear conflict. I think it could have been a bad nuclear war. Millions of people could have been killed.
What about a good nuclear war? Anyway.
So I'm very proud of that. I also want to thank
So he's very proud of that, Kurt. In fact, he
Whoa, take a bow.
Next, he's going to take credit for Diddy and Ventura getting back together. Am I right? Come on.
Oh God.
So here he is. He takes credit for it again. It looks like he's on a plane, right? He's at his desk on the Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
potential nuclear war, and two countries, they have very good leaders, people I know very well, and you know, it was a very important process. We got involved with India and Pakistan.
You got involved early. Can you give us a little insight what happened behind the scenes? How were you able?
Well, I didn't like what was happening, and you hear, you know, they're two very strongly nuclear countries, very, very powerful amount of nuclear too, serious stuff. And if that ever started, boy, that's the beginning of something that could be really bad. Even a minimal, you could have millions of people killed. And with one shot, two shots, and I just thought it was something we could get involved in. And I did a good job. Marco did a good job, and JD did a good job. We sort of were a team, and we, I think, convinced them to let's have peace and let's go and make trade deals. If we can make trade deals, we like that much better than nuclear weapons. And that was.
So there, he's going to say it again.
Just days ago, my administration successfully brokered a historic ceasefire to stop the escalating violence between India and Pakistan. And I used trade to a large extent to do it. I said, fellas, come on, let's make a deal. Let's do some trading. Let's not trade nuclear missiles. Let's trade the things that you make so beautifully. And they both have very powerful leaders, very strong leaders, good leaders, smart leaders. And
phenomenal.
It all stopped. Hopefully it'll remain that way, but it all stopped. I was very proud of Marco Rubio and all of the people that worked so hard. Marco, stand up. What a great job you did on that. Thank you, J.D. Vance.
Come on.
Marco. The whole group worked with you, but it was a great job. And I think they're actually getting along. Maybe we can even get them together a little bit, Marco, where they go out and have a nice dinner together. Wouldn't that be nice?
Would.
But we've come a long way.
They're going to have a nice dinner. I guess Trump is Jewish. What is he? Come on. You have a nice dinner?
Eat something.
Come on, eat something.
That's Italian.
Oh, that's Italian. That's right.
Eat something.
So there's one little problem with this. The Indian government on Tuesday disputed President Trump's claim that the U.S. mediated ceasefire between India and Pakistan came about in part because he had offered possible trade concessions. Addressing a weekly news conference, Ranbir Jaswal, the spokesperson for the India's foreign ministry, said top leaders in New Delhi and Washington were in touch last week following the Indian military's intense standoff with Pakistan, but that there was no conversation on trade.
What did Modi say? That's who counts.
Right. Did Modi say it? But the people in India are pissed off about Trump taking credit for this.
Why?
They think that Modi's being a bitch to him. Oh. Like he's being a subservient lapdog.
That's why they're doing that. To save face? That's why that guy's doing that?
I think so. Donald Trump once again takes credit for brokering a ceasefire between India and Pakistan using trade. Modi is yet to take Donald Trump's name and refute this claim.
That's what I said.
Why is he not replying to Trump?
Because it's real. Shut up.
Here's another one. India has become a laughingstock in the world. Thank you, Modi.
Okay. So, if it's any consolation, there was a good deal of laughter before this.
India should get into the laughingstock market. because there's here's an Indian journalist who's super pissed off that Trump negotiated a peace deal. I'm not kidding. Watch this.
Coming in from a third party.
It is a clear case of overstepping. It is not the job of the President of the United States to make a claim when we haven't even agreed that this is a matter which requires his intervention. And, with the greatest of respect to the American President, he has no idea about the ground situation. He has no idea about what's happening here. Till a few days back, he said that this is not for him to look into. And now he's congratulating both countries trying to be a global peacemaker. And I think this is beyond him. I strongly object to the fact that the US president is saying that he has sorted out the conversation between two countries. I think President Trump does not understand the importance of difference between back channel talks or informal diplomacy or clandestine diplomacy or overt diplomacy. Somebody should
think this is typical Trump overreach?
This is typical Trump overreach. This is typical Trump overreach at a time when he does not have a mandate to do so. And I think it becomes incumbent right now for the government to start the press conference which we were promised at 5:30. If this was a calibrated announcement, which I do not know anything about, then really we will hear, we will go, Republic will go by what our Prime Minister says. Republic will go by what the Foreign Secretary of India says and what the Indian forces says. It is wrong for Donald Trump to go out and make an announcement, but this is typical.
And the fact that he's saying, and the fact, Arnav, he's saying that overnight negotiations, while we had the worst of fighting between the two sides.
Where are the negotiations overnight? Where are the negotiations overnight? Who has mandated him to have those negotiations overnight? Last night, we were pummeling them back after they tried to send their drones. Last night, there were people in Firozpur who were, who were injured. Last night, there were 36 places where they tried to do incursions, and we have hit them back. And a ceasefire is not a phone call. It is not like one of those things that happen on WhatsApp. I mean, Donald Trump should get real about the situation. I will completely go by what my government says.
And Trump has failed for the 5 months with Russia and Ukraine.
But that's not the point.
He has announced 4 times.
Trump is too eager. Trump is jumping the gun. And I do not believe that this can be the kind of announcement that can be taken seriously as an announcement. And that's why I came on air to say this, that ऐसा नहीं होता है कि आप informally announce करें, you take a role for yourself, and 2 days back...
And Americans seem to be heavily invested because Secretary Marco Rubio is now posting saying over the last 48 hours, Vice President Vance said, I don't buy this, and we will finish this. Let us not forget here, with the greatest of respect, that the United States of America was the country which threatened to send the 7th Fleet in 13 days. And therefore, we are an independent country. And he's trying to equalize this. How on earth can Trump equalize between what has happened in Pahalgam and what has happened thereafter? It's a clear case of overreach.
Clear overstretch. I'm sorry I'm going to have to go. You can take this forward. But we are going to be on conversation with our channels in the government.
Absolutely.
So, obviously, Trump doesn't understand the importance of having a nuclear war.
Yeah. No, he goes, he doesn't understand the difference between back channel and front channel. So that means he did make a deal. Modi must, because as soon as I go, well, Modi's the guy that says if it's going to be a thing. They did it back channel and Trump just blurted it out. So that and that's what he's mad about, the lack of decorum of preventing the nuclear war.
Yes. How can he just say that he's doing this? How can he's making it look like India and Pakistan are equal. That's what they're upset about. Okay.
By the way, I don't believe this thing that Britain, when they drew these shitty borders, didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
Oh, they didn't care, so they did a bad job. No, they did exactly what they wanted to do, to maintain this bullshit forever. They do it on purpose. That's not an accident. They go to schools to learn how to do this. It goes back to ancient Rome. This is called divide and conquer. So that's why they drew those borders so shitty. So this would happen.
And it's kind of like, giving... carving up Palestine and giving a state to is just inventing one with the Balfour Declaration. It's kind of like that.
Outsourced their Arab they want to colonize the Arabs.
Yeah.
They outsourced it to the Zionists.
Yeah.
Through de Rothschild. That's what that letter is. And by the way, the Balfour Declaration, they're not living up to that. If you read what it's in that, they're way overboard and not at all like what's in that declaration, which is not a legally binding agreement of any kind. If it were, it'd be a lot less awful what's going on there.
Over to Steph.
Okay, over to Steph. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Julius Patty. Seriously, Jimmy, you need to invite either Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro or Alon Mazari. Their take on Zionism is very insightful, and let them talk uninterrupted like Catherine Fitz. Whoa.
Hey, don't tell me how to do my fucking show.
Whoa.
How about that?
I love your response, Jimmy.
You let who talk on your show. I'll
do your interviews the way you want to do them.
And I'll do my fucking interviews the way I want to do them.
Only but the truth. Hi, Steph. It's Glenn the Cowboy. That's the guy I told you about. I am John Cullen. He was on Sam's Tinfoil Hat podcast. Please have Jimmy interview John. He's in the queue. We'll be chatting about him and seeing when it works. Thank you for the reminder, Cowboy. Curb. Have you ever been there recently? If so, you would see their road, bridges, dams, high rises are crumbling and falling down as we speak. That's what corruption gets you today.
Never been.
China 8 years ago. Splinkster.
At least have the courtesy to have been.
All right, let's see this. Curious. Oh, I read that one. I traveled to Iran 6 years ago. Complete strangers would invite me to their homes for a meal. Nicest people I've ever met. Dan the man. Fred Pound, Jamal Khashoggi's appointment at the Saudi embassy was exactly 1 year to the minute after the Vegas shooting. Intentional revenge from MBS. Fred Pound.
Okay, ready?
How funny is it after Jimmy called out former Mumford son for not posting the interview, then
he posted it?
Denny boy. I didn't know. You didn't tell me, Jimmy.
Yeah, it just got posted.
Oh, boy. What was that, 3 weeks?
He also sent me an email. He was upset that I got upset, and I was talking shit on my own podcast about him not dropping it. The reason why I did that was because he wasn't responding to our queries about, hey, when are you going to drop that podcast? I saw you drop podcasts with people you interviewed after me. And so it sounded like they weren't going to. And so all he had to do was respond to our emails.
Our query.
And he didn't. And so I was like, hey, Sad. And he was like, why you got to, he was basically upset that I was saying shit. And I'm like, yeah. You know why I said shit? I said shit so I could get a response from you. And look, it worked.
I think that's the South Side in you coming out when you do that.
It worked. What do you think? I'm going to fucking take that shit sitting down? I drive across town?
You're not going to take that shit.
I didn't want to do that freaking interview. If I'd have known it was going to be about him repeating already thoroughly debunked Zionist talking points, I would not have gone. Because that would turn into a thing about... I thought we were going to talk about authoritarianism and Western liberal culture and open borders and how they're trying to undermine the working man. And he just wanted to talk about, Arabs bad. And I'm like, oh, it's so boring. It was boring. It's a boring interview.
Yeah, I guess you're right, man. Kill all their kids, I guess, because of Hamas. I guess that's totally fine. I don't know what I was wrong.
No, he makes the argument that no, it's urban warfare. People always die in urban warfare. Okay. How many
urban warfare where you carpet bomb the entire urban area until there's nothing left?
Yeah. How many people?
That's not what we were doing.
How many people in Israel are being slaughtered? Oh, none. It's not a war. Okay. But anyway, all that's behind us. We buried the hat. No hard feelings on my part. He dropped the interview. So thank you.